Kukulonji tribe of tropical North Queensland, Australia, believes in the existence of a strange, malevolent creature known as the Yowie. Known by the tribal name of Jaramule, the dreaded Yowie resembled a huge hair-covered ape-like man with taloned fingers and large three-toed feet. His head, like that of the Bigfoot and the Yeti, was set straight onto its massive shoulders. Ancestral stories passed down through the generations tell of the many ferocious battles fought with the fearsome giant who often hunted many members of the tribe. The Black Mountains outside of Cooktown, long regarded as Yowie habitat, was the site of many disappearances over the last 100 years.
Aboriginals have a long and detailed history of attacks from these creatures, losing a lot of their people.
Many reported sightings of the Yowie have occurred since Australia's European settlement more than 200 years ago. Some, like George Gray of New South Wales, have come face to face and carry the scars to this day.
Oh, I was with my two boys hunting up near the old sawmill behind Kookaburra. We'd gone to sleep in an abandoned old miner's hut. We'd heard noises earlier, you know, grunting noises, that sort of thing. I thought it was just wild pigs. Well, about 2 a.m, I guess, I woke up to this foul smell and a crashing noise. My hand suddenly touched this warm body covered in hair. I must have frightened it, and it grabbed me, and it shook me by the neck. I managed to get free, and it was gone. It moved so quick, I didn't even see what it looked like. But I'll never forget it.
There's something out there, we'll catch it.
On the edge of the tree line, there's a big black tree there. That was where they came from.
The women are very concerned. A lot of their husbands work away and they're at home on their own. And I mean, they're quite terrified.
Dean Harrison, head of Australian hominid research, not only claims proof of the creature, but more than one species exist.
Now, the two most prominent creatures are Gigantopithecus, which is the larger type Bigfoot, Yowie, up to about 10 feet tall, weighing up to 1,000 pounds. It's got more of a primate look about the face and the head, yet it walks upright like Homo erectus, like what we do. The other one is a smaller one, which the Aboriginals class as the Jingera, or the small hairy man, and he's only about 4 feet tall.
Ash has just had a visual sighting, a perfect daylight sighting. He had 2 rocks thrown at him, and this thing ran through the bush, and he said he saw him as clear as day.
He'd be like 8 or 9 foot, but he's 7 at least. You know, he was running too. So he's straight up the back of the hill behind you, I guess, now.
Initially, when I walked up, I saw the rock, and then I stopped and, you know, where did it come from? And then the lantana pile moved, sorry, there was a tree in the lantana moved. I called in, I walked up the high side of that, and then he just ran straight up the hill.
While hunting in the bush outside of Kilcoy, Queensland in December of 1979, Warren Christensen and Tony Solano claimed to have seen and shot at a Yowie. They made a cast of its original 3-toed footprint and bears striking similarities to a print of a Yeti found in Nepal 100 years earlier.
Well, we take these kinds of things very seriously, but we're not trying to prove that God exists here in these kind of situations. So we do ask for evidence. If someone comes to us with a footprint or a handprint of a Yowie, for example, then we like to be able to see the print. We like to find out a bit about it.
Have a good look at me footprint here.
Beautiful. Look at the size of that instep. Look at that. That is very nice.
Take this for example. Here's a footprint that was taken, and it looks as if it's the claws of an enormous animal, perhaps a Yowie, maybe a handprint of a Yowie or a panther or something or other like that. And the people who brought this in were very excited that they found something of another world, shall we say. But when you look at it carefully, all it is the footprint from a kangaroo. And if you see the hind prints of this wallaby here, you'll see that it has two main claws on either foot. And when these two go down together in mud on the tiptoes, you simply get a print that looks like that, and it's easily explainable.
Australian scientists, like many in the world, retain a healthy skepticism when it comes to the lack of hard evidence. This chilling tape recording, taken by a birdwatcher in the marshland of southeastern Victoria, remains unclassifiable by any expert to this day. It is believed to be a genuine Yowie.
He went from here straight across in like 3 seconds. He was moving.
I've had an aggressive encounter myself where I thought I was in more than just danger. I thought I was going to lose my life.
I turned tail, ran as fast as I could. This thing would run 4 times my speed, screaming and roaring the whole time. Caught me within no time, rushed ahead of me, went to cut me off.
Come on, guys, let's move. Come on.
Still screaming and roaring and bellowing, and it lunged out of the bushes just as I turned right and just missed me.
Yeah, all right, come on, mate. Okay. Which way?
He didn't get aggressive with trees just at the moment, but then it was sort of edging towards us. And so we hey, let's just go. He's got a flare.
Okay, let's go.
But the Yowie is not the only frightening beast of legend who has fired the imagination of cryptozoologists and the public alike.
You got it, Ash, you got it.
Just as quickly denounced as fable by experts are the regular sightings on the island of Tasmania of a vicious creature resembling a cross between a hyena and a tiger. The evidence surrounding the ferocious Tasmanian Tiger, or Thylacine, is more chilling than any fiction. For up until 50 years ago, it did exist. This bloodthirsty marsupial had a massive head with an incredible jaw span of 120 degrees, rivaling that of a rattlesnake. With rows of razor-sharp incisors, more than any other land carnivore, and a huge jaw span, it was capable of tearing the heads off of sheep with one bite. Eventually, farmers had enough of cleaning up the carcasses of their livestock. The famed tiger was brutally hunted to extinction. The last known Tasmanian tiger died in captivity in 1936. To this day, however, reported sightings of the creature continue to occur. Yet despite evidence to the contrary, experts believe the animal is extinct.
And when an animal dies, it leaves behind it evidence like teeth and bones that we can use, and they last for hundreds of years in many cases. So the evidence points towards the fact that thylacines have gone. If we're going to lay some foundation for our belief in yowies or in thylacines, then it's not unreasonable for us to ask for evidence. And so far, the evidence isn't forthcoming.
But the mysteries of nature around the world still contain frightening creatures. The saltwater crocodiles of the Pacific, which have remained unchanged for millions of years, often turn up in suburbs looking for food as its natural habitat becomes fished out. This child was savagely attacked in her own backyard, which bordered a nearby creek. She was lucky to survive.
Well, I believe that at the rate the forests are being depleted across the world, that one or two things is going to happen. Either one, we're set on a very soon discovery of these creatures to prove they exist, or two, they're going to slip into extinction.
Now, the normal skeptic, you've got to keep in mind, he sits in his armchair in his lounge room, mainly in a large city, and he says, because I have not seen, I do not believe. Now, if a scientist or a skeptic would like to spend a week in our lives, I think it would turn him around pretty quickly.
All scientists exist for the monumental discovery of their lifetime, and I would love this more than anybody. But our position as scientists is to keep people without that kind of knowledge on the tracks, really. And if we can provide a simple explanation for those kind of things, then in a way we're keeping them sane, and we're keeping their case honest.